Hi everybody, welcome to card readings. If you like, subscribe and click your thumbs up if you want. I'm going to talk about a story. I wasn't going to do this today, but I just saw this thing on YouTube and it connected to this, and I thought I'd tell you the story. So back in 1995, when I started working with Philip Marie Catholic Homes, back then it was called Philip Marie, and all these staff left by now, new staff on now, and it's really interesting because right from the word go, like I said, from all my jobs, if anything related to readings, I try to tell a person I have this, right? Because it just helps everyone's life. It's easier. If something goes wrong, we know what's wrong, yeah? So that's okay. So I've been telling this to people. And like I said to you in my last YouTube thing, is when I get people telling me, I tell them, most of them say, oh, you poor thing, you can't do anything, right? And I must admit, for 12 years, well, I wouldn't say 12 years, I'd say 11 years doing disability work, I actually thought it didn't affect me. I thought nothing of it, and I said, yeah, whatever, you learn later, right? And I thought it was fine, but there's certain things came across, and it just came across, and I thought, that's interesting, why is this bothering me, kind of thing. And I think it was 2003, I met a young lady. She was my boss, she left by now. Her name is Jo, and she introduced me to drag, and she said, she was the first one said, what can I do for you, instead of, oh, you poor thing. And I thought, that's really good, because that's what I need. I don't need pity, I just need some assistance, like doing instrument reports, person-centered planning, stuff like that, nothing major, right? That's okay. Now, I thought I was going okay with it. I just asked help when I need it. But I remember one year I had the job and I left the job. Other reasons, it wasn't like to do that. It was other reasons. And I remember, because I've been learning a lot about different types of disabilities, and I remember I went to one job and the person in charge had a disability. I won't say where, I don't know this person's at this place, but I remember the second person in charge had an issue with this person to a point where the person in charge couldn't do anything right for him, right? For her, I should say. So, yeah, so that's okay. And some reason it came across when I went back to my job for the movie, and I had a record with me, John Farman, my old boss. Kath loved John Farman, and I thought, ooh, I'll give this to Kath. It was only $2. I got it at a second-hand shop, yeah. So I thought, oh, I'd take it back to the movie and give it to Kath. And through my last, I would say 12 years, I've been hearing, you poor thing, you have this, that kind of thing. But it's really weird, because when I went into Kath's office, like I said, she was one of my old bosses, and she had a person next to her that used to work with her, Jo, and it was really weird, because I walked in, and I just stood there, and I realised how much, when people going, you poor thing, you have dyslexia, you can't do anything. I realised then how much that affected me, to a point my whole way of thinking changed, in a sense. I need to be more, I like to be more independent. I was always independent, but a bit more independent. Like I needed more, I like to get myself like that. I got board makeout, like I showed you, and one of my other stuff like that. So yeah, it came out positive. But what I'm trying, why I'm putting this out here for you, it's amazing what you don't, when you talk to someone, how much it affects you, and you don't really people don't really think about it. It does affect you. And if that person, like with me, when I went and gave this record to John Farmer record to Kath, and this is like, well, 15 years ongoing. You poor thing, you have dyslexia. I didn't realise how much that affected me till I went in, moved away from the situation for, I'll say, 3 months, and went back into that same organisation and realised how much that affected me. And I'm putting this out there because there's a thing on, I think it's on Facebook, it's the same, and it's about a father, his daughter, and two friends. And the 2 friends with her were doing a TikTok thing, yeah? I dance related to TikTok. And the girl goes, I don't want to dance with you anymore because you're getting it wrong, yeah? That's okay. And she's down in her luck and thinking, I really want to do this, but I'm not doing it right, yeah. So they went along, taught himself how to do this TikTok dance, right? And then the girl and the father did it together, and she built up her confidence in it to the point where she got 3 million likes or whatever it is related to TikTok, right? Now, I'm using these 2 because I'm not going to get into detail here, but I'm looking at COVID-19 and Black Lives Matter, and I'm not going to get into the details of it, but has anyone really thought about how much this kind of stuff affects people? How much from, like I said, for me, I had no idea how much people affected me with my dyslexia till I moved away from the situation, yeah? To a little girl who wanted to learn to dance, to her friends putting it down to a point she didn't want to do it, to her father showed her, this is what I learnt myself, to show you can do it kind of thing. So that's why I'm putting this out there. And it's not just your news or your media or current affair kind of stuff. I mean, this in everywhere, like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whatever. Have you ever thought how much what you put out there affects people, good or bad? I mean, like, if you keep on hearing, I don't like you, I don't like you, don't like you, how do you think that can affect a person? To a person, so, I like you, I like you, I like you. A perfect example, I use this a lot, where I had a young girl, I won't say her name, because she's a client, and she's going, Margaret, and she means Margaret, and I hated it. I just hated it because it's all attention for me. I just didn't like it, and I had to tell her to stop doing it to a point because it was just affecting me that way. But it does affect you. No, it really affects you. Where I'm looking at the whole COVID-19 thing, and like I said, I'm not going to get involved with it. I'm not going to say whatever, but just simple things like this: your mask, staying inside. You can die out from touching someone's hand. That whole, you can die from just touching someone's hand. Have you ever really thought about the outcome of that? How much that will affect a person's mentality? Like, have you ever really thought about it as a media thing? And like I said, it's not just your genuine media, like your news and your current affair. I mean, anything that's connected to news itself. Like, I know stuff on YouTube, it's not related to your channel news, it's just your genuine news, and how much that can affect to you. Like, how many things have we heard about now? Like now we heard about the gloves and how much that's is affecting people. Like, do I wear a mask or do I die? Kind of thing. People are thinking that way, you know. When I wash my hands, how many times do I need to wash my hands? That kind of stuff, you know. Have anyone really thought about it? And this thing with Black Lives Matters, yeah. And you know, we all have our belief systems, we do, but especially as a parent, you think about how much is that affecting that child. You're bringing up a child, hearing all these things, and you know, have you ever really thought about what the outcome would be for that child? I mean, particularly when they're 2 or 3, to hear all these things, and you know, and we can change that as a person. We can change it. We can turn. I mean, we don't make up lies. I mean, if COVID-19 was real, yeah, stick with it. But if it's not real, think about, one, you're lying to the public. No matter who you are in the media, you're lying to the public. But how much is that affecting the person? I mean, imagine a grandparent going to the grandchild, like the 2 or 3, say, you can't come because I'm fighting of dying. Imagine saying that to a 2-year-old. I mean, that's a huge thing. And that child, they might remember that when they get older. They might be worried. Especially if that grandma does die in this time, and they might be thinking when they get to about 10 years old, saying, did I kill my grandmother because I might have had COVID-19? Now, you might think it's all crazy, but you know what we hear and say does really make a difference. It really does make a difference, and if it's something we might not think about it till later on you go into that situation, like I did with my dyslexia. But you got your bigger stuff too, you know, the COVID-19, your Black Lives Matters stuff. It does make a difference. I mean, you think about how kids now, this time in about, like I said, 1, 2, probably 5, maybe in 10 years old, what they're going to think in 5 or 10 years' time. Has anyone thought about that? Has anyone thought about the outcome later on in the future, like to all these things are happening? Like I said, I'm not going to get into the details, but I think no one really thought about it. And I have thought about it, but I haven't really thought about it to this point where I saw this young girl with her dad with the TikTok thing. It's a minor thing, but that's how it starts. Something minor can be lead into something bigger, and that's how I thought. And then to a point, I know this is just a thing that someone made up, but it's a good point here. And think about if this was true about this girl with the TikTok thing. Imagine if she reached to her, I don't know, 16 years old. She can outlash on that too, like where I'm gonna get myself in trouble with the law and that. And we have seen it before where someone put someone down so much they got themselves in trouble with the law. I mean, it does happen. So what I'm saying, do we really think about what we say and do, and do we ever actually think about the outcome of it? I mean, I know with COVID-19 itself, and like I won't get into it, but I know it is affecting certain people out there, and I think God help the media later on with this, because the penny's going to drop for them. You know, the penny is going to drop for them, and people are going to look at it and say, and it's where you're going to have issues. And I think this is where you're going to have law, what do you call it, people going to, you know, sue people for it too. honestly see people getting sued for COVID-19. The media are gonna get sued for it. I hate to say it, but I do see it. Like, I'm thinking, God help the media when all this is calmed down, because when everything comes down, that's when your mind thinks. And like I said, you have the free people think, oh, this is whatever. One, you're gonna get in trouble with the law, or shit's gonna come out, like things that, or people are gonna think about. Like I said, maybe in this time of this year, your grandmother died. You're gonna walk around and think, did I kill my grandmother? Because I might have had COVID-19. Has anyone thought about stuff like that? No. In, like, you got these people anti-ODs, that's what I'm looking at with OD, where they have to keep on doing stuff. How much is that going to affect people with cleanliness? I mean, yeah. So this is why I'm saying, this is why I'm putting this out there. So what we do and say does make a difference. You can turn something into a positive thing. I mean, if we don't, we turn it into a negative thing. And with both, you can have a good thing or a bad outcome with it. It might happen in 2 or 3 days later, or it can happen in 6 years later, who knows, but it does make a difference how we say and do things in our lives and people around us, and this is why I'm putting this out there. So if you agree, leave a comment. If you don't, you can leave a comment too, and give a thumbs up if you like, and subscribe if you want. Hope this is useful and help you think about what you say and do, how you do it. Yeah, bye, see you later.